Louis Vuitton is the most valuable luxury fashion brand in the world. Today, its CEO, Bernard Arnault, is one of the wealthiest person on the planet. With a net worth soaring past $180 billion, looking at the glamour and the insane price tags, you would never guess that this empire was started by a penniless teenager who was completely homeless, had zero education, and survived by sleeping in the woods. A heartwarming, rags to riches story. Behind this iconic LV logo hides a dark, disturbing past. We are going to uncover a shocking tale of how the company collaborated with the Nazis to survive, and how the founding family was brutally kicked out of their own business in a ruthless, hostile takeover. This is an extreme, untold truth of Louis Vuitton. Our story begins in 1821 in a tiny, impoverished village in France called Anjay. Louis Vuitton was born in a farm that had no electricity and no running water. His father was a poor farmer and his mother made hats to scrape together some extra cash. With no record for him ever receiving an education, a young Louis decided to run away from the home. He traveled on foot to Paris, a journey that took him years, surviving by doing odd jobs and literally sleeping in the woods. When he finally reached Paris, he realized that wealthy aristocrats were beginning to travel more by trains and boats, and they desperately needed high quality luggage. Louis got a job working exactly what the rich and famous desired. By 1854, he had saved enough to open his own workshop, creating handmade custom luggage. It seemed he had escaped his miserable past, but disaster was looming. In 1870, the brutal Franco-Prussian War broke. Louis was forced to abandon his home and live in a cramped, starving shelter with thousands of other refugees. When the war finally ended in 1871, he returned to his shop, only to find it completely destroyed. Windows smashed, equipment stolen, his entire life's work reduced to ruins. But instead of quitting, Louis used his last remaining savings to rebuild his business in a much wealthier, aristocratic part of the Paris, right next to Grand Hotel. In 1872, he launched a brand new design, a stylish beige canvas luggage bag with stripes. It was a massive instant hit among the rich. The brand exploded in popularity. But the true controversies of Louis Vuitton would happen long after he was gone. Fast forward to World War II. France was occupied by Nazi Germany, and many famous brands were forced to shut down, but not Louis Vuitton. Under the leadership of Louis' grandson, Gaston Vuitton, the company made a very dark choice. They collaborated with the Nazis to keep the money flowing. While other businesses burned, Louis Vuitton were allowed to operate a glamorous shop on the ground floor of Hotel du Parc, heavily catering to the Nazi-backed regime. For decades, the company tried to bury its shameful secret. When an author named Stephanie investigated their archives, representatives claimed all documents from 1930 to 1945 had mysteriously burned. But through outside research, the truth of their Nazi collaboration was exposed. The brand survived the war, but the soul was forever tainted. By 1977, the company was being run by Louis' grandson-in-law, Henry Rickemer. Henry was a brilliant businessman who took sales from $20 million to $260 million and took the company public in 1984. To grow even faster, Henry decided in 1987 to merge Louis Vuitton with Moet Hennessy, a luxury champagne and cognac brand, creating a super conglomerate called LVMH. However, Henry hated the president of Moet Hennessy, so he invited a property developer named Bernard Arnault to invest and help him take control. This was the worst mistake in the history of fashion. Bernard was a shark. Instead of helping Henry, Bernard secretly bought 43% majority stake in LVMH behind Henry's back. Bernard then teamed up with the Moet Hennessy executives to force Henry out completely. Henry sued, but the courts sided with Bernard. Bernard Arnault, known ruthlessly in the business world as a wolf in cashmere, took absolute control. He used this stolen empire to acquire over 70 different luxury brands, becoming the richest man in the world. So the next time you see the famous LV logo, remember it was built by a homeless teenager, saved by working with Nazis, and stolen by a ruthless billionaire.